That's not a comic book. Now that's a comic book.
Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Comic Reviews. I had to remember where my camera was. This is going to be a record lightning fast episode of Comic Reviews because I got shit to do tonight, but I got a lot of stuff to get through, so I ain't even waiting for anyone. We are beginning on point. We'll be starting tonight with Action Comics number 1004, followed by Predator Hunters Volume 2 number 3, followed by Sandman Universe Books of Magic number 1, then Wonder Woman The Witching Hour, or Wonder Woman number 57, The Witching Hour Part 4, Justice League Odyssey number 2, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers number 32, Batman Beyond number 25, and then for the I don't know if you heard a word of that. I'm sorry. I said we'll be talking about All-Star Western number 1 from the New 52. There we go. That should be better. Anyway, and then we'll also briefly talk about this these two Marvel previews. One of them, Guardians of the Galaxy number 1 kind of advertisement. Just a big book of preview stuff. And then a much smaller book of Star Wars related previews. So, plenty of stuff to get through tonight. And like I said, I'm a busy boy tonight, so I've got to get going. Yeah, sorry about the sound going out. I forgot that it doesn't keep my audio. I wonder if I can, real quick. No, it just lets me. Oh well. Alright, so let's go ahead and start with Action Comics number 1004. Still doing these same price foil covers, and they are pretty undoubtedly neat. I do like this idea, Superman in the clouds, flying over the geese. That's a fun one. So this was getting some attention on my social media feed tonight, and I quite enjoyed it. But it didn't, like, wow me or anything. I thought it was just interesting an interesting continuation. Sorry, I just saw a comment in the live chat, and I feel bad that I didn't realize Wonder Woman Earth 2 came out weeks ago at this point. But yeah, this is just an interesting continuation of the story, kind of developing things, what's going on with Lois. And it's just kind of explaining why she's been back on Earth but hasn't been talking to Clark or anything, and has been working on her book. And so, I mean, it's good. I'm not sure if I love the way Bendis is writing Lois Lane, which is kind of weird because I think one of his best strengths has been how he writes the Daily Planet crew, as it were. How he writes a very distinct Clark Kent from a Superman, how he writes a very distinct Perry White, so on and so forth. And I don't know, it was just interesting. I thought it was just a good take on most of the characters. And his Lois Lane, I don't know, like, I like the motivation that he's giving her. I like that she's thinking on a different level than I guess we're used to seeing Lois act. And I can get into what I mean by that in a minute. But it's some of the language that he's having her use that I find kind of iffy. She keeps calling Superman baby. And I don't know why, that just doesn't work for me. It just doesn't feel like a Lois Lane thing to say. I don't know, Lois is such a dominating personality that I can't really imagine her calling Clark baby because it's such a I don't know. I'm not sure what I'm trying to get at here. It just doesn't feel right. I just kind of always have Lois Cullen Clark Smallville in my head. I don't know. Just didn't quite work for me. Otherwise, they boink. Superman and Lois Lane boink. So that's good. I love these little excuses for Superman to go off and save the day, and I just love the creativity that's being put into it, and the fact that it's just kind of happening in the background, because it's just Superman's life. That's pretty good. As far as Lois's reason for not coming back and all that jazz, or at least not right away, I quite like it. I like the idea that, you know, she says it in here, how they keep trying for normal and their lives are anything but, so why should they try for normal? Why shouldn't they just do their lives the way they want to do them? And I like that. That's a good justification and reasoning for Lois Lane to me. So I thought it worked quite well, all things considered. Otherwise, not a lot happens in the issue. Really, it kind of just is Superman dealing with stuff, hanging out at the Daily Planet for a bit, and just, you know, showing that Lois is in the picture, but she's not the main focus of the book, and that it's just different than the relationship had been. Now that they're taking a different step, so it's all fine. I'm curious to see where it goes. Still, no lie. That's all I got. Let's go ahead and move along. Where am I going to put this? I'll just put it on the ground for now. That's right. I put foil covers on the floor. Anyway, let's go ahead and talk about Predator Hunters, Volume 2, Number 3. That is a mouthful. This one also, not a lot of plot development. This is mainly an action issue, which seems it's been almost back and forth with the series so far. That we've gotten like action heavy issue and then you know, more plot heavy issue. This one's definitely much more action oriented. A bunch of Oh, viewers are experiencing buffering, says YouTube. Sorry. Nothing I can do about that right now. I'll work on that for the future, though. Anyway, this is more of an action-heavy issue. So some Black Ops U.S. soldiers are trying to hunt down the Predator and steal its technology, and they think they've cornered it in a former jihadi cave. Man, I'm having a lot of warnings coming up from YouTube and stuff about the quality of the stream. I'm not sure what to do. Sorry. Hopefully that helps a little bit. Just turn the Wi-Fi off of my phone. One less device for the computer to deal with. Or the router to deal with. I'll get something up here to work on that. Anyway, like I was saying. So we got a bunch of U.S. soldiers being attacked by the Predator and just kind of fucking destroyed. Just starts blowing the fuck out of their helicopters and stuff, and that's really just shit. Takes them out one by one. Meanwhile, our crew of the Predator Hunters are closing in on the Predator's real hideout. This is some gorgeous art, though. So, like, it is a very plot-light issue. But, man, would you look at that artwork? Who's the artist on this again? Agustin Padilla? Padilla? Really great stuff. That is a fantastic drawing of the Predator. I absolutely adore that, the way it's rendered. So anyways, our main team, though, of the Predator Hunters are closing in on the Predator's cave, and they have a plan to plant traps for it and kill it that way. They're doubtful that will work. And then I just love what a fucking dick the Predator is here. They're always such fucking assholes. It's the best. Grady. Jesus, Grady, you okay? Grady, what the fuck? Oh, Jesus! And his, like, body gets thrown at him and stuff. And then the Predator comes in and, like, stabs him and pulls him real close and goes, you okay? And then we get the page turn as Predator's carrying both of those bodies. Oh, Jesus. I love what fucking mocking assholes they are. Oh, it's the best. Love me some Predator, and this is just, it's hitting all the right buttons for me. So, really good stuff, and fantastic art, too. Go ahead and move along and talk about the Sandman Universe Books of Magic, #1. So a lot of these Sandman books have been a little hit and miss for me, unfortunately. I didn't really care for House of Whispers, didn't really care for Lucifer. The Dreamings, it's working for me, but it's really complicated to try to keep in your head. Books of Magic here has a really interesting premise. Again, I feel like I've missed a lot. This opens with this boy named Timothy Hunter, who's like walking down the street and sees some of the most famous magic users in the DC universe, and they offer to teach him magic. And then, like, we have all these scenes, and I can't help but feel like this was the book I didn't read. And then he wakes up in school, and now he's got to learn how to do magic. So, I don't know, I guess I'm missing something there, but this might be the freshest start, wherein they talk about how he's destined to become a great magician, but it's going to be a lot of work. He doesn't just get to, you know, oh, you're going to be a great magic user one day. But that doesn't mean you can just snap your fingers and do magic. You're still going to have to learn it, and it's going to be hard to learn. The idea is that the books, that he'll have to find books of magic, but he'll have to learn magic to read them because they're blank. And they won't reveal themselves. They won't reveal themselves to him beforehand. So I thought that was interesting, and it's played with in a certain way, where he gets this brief moment of the magic starts to reveal itself, and then he's like, I don't care about this consequence bullshit, I just want to learn magic, and starts flipping through pages, and then the words fade away. I quite like that. That's a really interesting premise, and we kind of begin the plot. So this one I am definitely more invested in and feel more comfortable reading, even though I haven't read the original Books of Magic series. Say, Ian, who would you choose to train you in magic in the DC universe? Zatanna? I fucking love Zatanna, man. That's like no-brainer. She's the best. So yeah, this I did like this. I'm going to give this at least a couple more issues. But House of Whispers didn't do it for me, and Lucifer didn't do it for me. So a couple of these Sandman books are really up and down. But to be fair, they're probably meant more to be read in trade, and I probably will give them another shot there. Alrighty. Go ahead and move along. Continuing with the magic theme, we have Wonder Woman number 57, The Witching Hour, Part 4. This is the crossover with Justice League Dark, and I am loving every minute of it. Just fucking cool shit. The big reveal, the big cliffhanger moment at the end of Justice League Dark was that Wonder Woman had now been fully taken over by the witch goddess. And so that's kind of an oh shit moment, and now Zatanna and Constantine are kind of dealing with that. They're like, okay, she's completely out of control, what do we do? And Constantine's like, oh, it's all over, the world's over, and Zatanna has to snap him out of it. So I just love the dynamic they have with each other. That's pretty great. Zatanna has to snap him out of it, and they have to come up with a plan to try to save the universe between the two of them, even though Constantine's severely depowered and looks like he's going to die from cancer sometime soon. So Constantine has this line, and now at the end of everything, when I should be a bloody light show of superhero magic nonsense, I'm back down to a bare-knuckle basics. You know what, John fucking Constantine? He's not here anymore. I'm just a back-alley exorcist with a bloody cough. And Zatanna says, you know, it's funny. I have a friend who could use an exorcism right about now. Bugger me, you're right. Damn it, you're right. It has no chance of working, but I guess that's better than a pint and a song. I don't know, I like that. That's just, that's cool that you got this kind of relationship building between them, and they kind of balance each other out. So, kind of skipping over a lot of the book and a lot of the character stuff that's done, which I do like, but it's not something I'm really invested in talking about here. Is Wonder Woman kind of... I do want to talk about this one scene with Wonder Woman, but I'll skip some of that for plot stuff, wherein they trick the witch goddess into just the most basic-ass binding spell in the world, using stage magic, misdirection. They trick her into a basic binding spell, and Constantine says, nice thing about a simple spell is that it scales up easy. Tap a binding spell into the raw energy of a dying heart of magic, and you've got yourself a party. Now, I normally pull this trick on bastard demons, but I imagine it's all the same in the end. Let's skip the part with the spinning heads, though. Yeah, always turns my stomach. Now, but then, so like they've trapped her, and they're telling her to get out of the women that she's branded, witch marked, and that causes a problem because it looks like the witch goddess has funneled all of her powers into Diana, and that has killed her. So Wonder Woman is dead again. So, you know, it's a great cliffhanger. This series has nothing but great cliffhangers. I will say I'm a little disappointed we didn't get more rampaging evil Wonder Woman. That's a trick that we see left and right with Superman. We don't get it very often with Wonder Woman, and I don't know, it just would have been fun. She's just kind of in the background, honestly. So, you know, it's whatever. So this is more... This is the Wonder Woman title, but this is more just a continuation of the Justice League Dark story. And I was surprised that we didn't get a ton of Wonder Woman-centric content in this issue. But we did get a couple of good scenes I really liked. She's talking with one of the other women that the witch goddess took over and in fact killed. And she says, I thought it would be easy. It seems so foolish to say it now, but I did. I thought I could walk into the chaos of the magical world and fix it. The rules of my gods were always so set and firm. They might have had cruel intentions and unspeakable power, but I always understood them. But so much of this is beyond understanding. Hera, forgive me, but I am lost. I really like that. I absolutely love the idea of Wonder Woman leading a Justice League team. But I also enjoy the idea that she's not, that she's somewhat too confident, that she's overconfident in her ability to deal with certain things. Because, yes, she comes from a magical background, but she comes from the magical background of mythology, and in particular the mythological hero. And so that's the hero that kind of conquers magic through brute force, magical enemies through brute force. And that's not, obviously that's not directly what Diana does, but that's the kind of interaction she's used to with magic. She's used to dominating magic or using magic. The idea of working with magic is much different, and I really like that. It's really fun. So it's just kind of having a humbling moment, and you don't get that very often with Wonder Woman, and I think it works really well here. So I'm quite happy with that. Continues to be a really good series. This cover does really oversell what you're going to get in the issue, though. I was expecting an issue of, you know, power crazy Wonder Woman rampaging, and it's not at all what we got. It's more just dealing with the fact that the power mad Wonder Woman is rampaging in the background. Let's see here. Tari says she should, or Terry. Why do I always fuck that up? Terry says she should be leading Justice League International with Aquaman doing humanitarian aid. Yeah, sure. I don't see why not both. I do think that's a good fit for Aquaman. On your version of Aquaman. But yeah, I could see why Wonder Woman would be a good fit for that. I really like the idea of her on Justice League Dark. I think that is a really good decision because she does come from a mythological and thus very magical background. Tynion has her say something and... Oh, shit. Lost my stream. Man, I'm having really hard time maintaining stream quality tonight. But it says I'm still going, so I'm going to still go. Maybe if I turn that off, that'll help. Anyway. Where was I? Oh, yeah, so Tynion has her have a line, and I want to say the very first issue of it, where she says, I grew up around magical creatures. I rode a griffin when I was 4. I've been around magic my whole life. I can do this. I can lead us. I can help. And so she does have a lot of background in magic, and it makes sense for her to be there. Personally, I want the writers on Wonder Woman to lean more into the magical, mythological background stuff. I think that's a really good place to draw sources of her power and do stuff with it. And, you know, you could do more stuff with her, like gaining new mystical objects from time to time and just kind of rotating them in and out of her arsenal. I think that'd be cool to use too. She doesn't always have to have the lasso of truth and the tiara that comes back at her, you know? Anyway. From one Justice League book to the other. Let's talk about Justice League Odyssey #2. So this is the book that opens with kind of the moment. Darkseid. Get this really close to the camera. Darkseid is no more. So this kind of chronicles the lack of power that Darkseid has now, that he has lost a lot of power in the mainline DC canon for one reason or another, something to do with the Darkseid War and all that. I don't really know much about the current continuity surrounding Darkseid. But I think it's really funny that Tom King has retroactively made Grant Morrison's line about Darkseid the most famous Darkseid-related thing. I think that's really cool. And so I think this is a cool way to play with it. Darkseid is no more. So he's lost a lot of his power, but he's still, you know, he's lost a lot of his power, but he's still Darkseid. So, like, the likes of Starfire and Cyborg are jack shit to him. The likes of Azrael is a joke, and the likes of a Green Lantern is nothing to be concerned about. So I really do like this scene where he's just kind of talking to them. And he's like, I've lured you here for a reason, and now you will serve my purposes. But the purposes I wish for you to have, our ends are in alignment, because if you do not help me, the multiverse will die. And Darkseid does not like that, because Darkseid wants to rule the multiverse, as is his right. Darkseid is, and you cannot rule over what is not. So I thought that was... This is kind of an interesting motivation for him to be willing to reach out and work with others, because now he doesn't have the full-scale power to be able to do it all on his own. And this scene kind of exemplifies that, where Cyborg and Darkseid kind of do a little bit of a tussling, and Cyborg mentions that, you know, in the past I never have a shot at going mano-a-mano with you. You must be losing your touch. So it's being very direct that Darkseid is weakened here, which I think is smart. But he kind of manipulates the situation in order to show them that he's not lying. The people in this ghost sector do treat the Justice League members as if they are gods. And so he needs them to do something about that, but they don't know what he needs. So it's very obvious that he's manipulating the situation, but he's on the League. I think that's really cool. He's put himself there, and they don't really have a choice in it, and he's clearly manipulating events behind their back. So the rest of the issues surrounds the Justice League here, the ragtag Justice League, as it were, discovering a statue of Starfire, and these people have been worshiping it like a god and all this stuff, and they get like kind of the background on it and everything. Apparently the people were taken by Brainiac at one point and all this other craziness. And Starfire learns of a sacred object, because of course it's a sacred object, that says something, holds destiny, blah, blah, blah. But once she begins to touch it and try to work with it, her powers go completely haywire. And so now we talk about the real reason I'm reading this book, because the art is goddamn gorgeous. I mean, just, God, Stephen Sejic is amazing. I just want to, like, stare at this page all day. It's so good. Man, I feel like I'm losing a lot of people in the stream because it says I got one person watching. So I'm really getting worried about my video quality here. That's disappointing. I hope it's okay. In any case. So you just get a lot of really, really gorgeous looking panels in here, because Sejic just does some absolutely stunning art, and it's so disappointing that he's not staying on the book longer because of the confusion that happened at the beginning of the series, because I was incredibly excited for him to be on this long term, for at least a couple arcs, if nothing else. And I was just looking forward to that. The way the scale of the stuff, I love this. It just looks so good. Stephen Sejic just makes such pretty-ass pictures, y'all. I will say, though, to criticize his art a little bit, Starfire's hair seems to kind of get away from him a little bit, and it starts to look like there's not as much detail work put into it. So that's a bit disappointing, but I think the beauty panels are just that, absolutely beautiful. And so I really do appreciate that stuff. He doesn't do that much with complicated panel layouts. On occasion he does, but not all the time. But we get some pretty cool-ass imagery. I love the lighting effects and stuff he puts on his art. Like, look at the wings from Azrael's cape there, whatever they're supposed to be, streams of light. Those are really cool. Yep, that's going to do it. Another foil cover, by the way, so I now have a Stephen Sejic cover with foil. I believe that's still his art. I'm pretty confident. It's a little weird because he does his own colors, so I'm not sure how this works. But yeah, it's a foil cover of Sejic's art, so that's really cool for me. Alrighty, let's go ahead and move on and talk about Mighty Morphin Power Rangers number 32. Man, I'm still getting a definite Star Trek Voyager feel from this. The Ranger that stole their power source, the mysterious Ranger that stole their power source, has taken off and left them for dead to deal with space pirates or some such shit. And so the Rangers kind of have to deal with the situation and get a little brutal about it by flushing them out an airlock. So I'll say this scene's a bit weird, but I guess desperate times and all that. But this scene's a bit weird in that it kind of contradicts something that goes on later in the book. So I'll be a little critical of that, but I don't know, there's some good stuff in here I quite like. So they're able to save the day, or they're able to save themselves, defeat the bad guys and all that. But one of the Rangers was like almost killed himself trying to save everyone, and is kind of alone for a second. He's like, and one of his teammates comes and says, "Mike, please don't be so reckless. That's twice you were almost killed trying to save the others. Because it doesn't matter if I die. Cripes, I've been dead before. Mike, what you said back on the Prometheia. No one else dies. Does that not get to mean you too?" I really like lines like that. That's so good, because so often we get this idea of like the sacrificing noble hero and all that stuff, and that's a fine myth and legend and type of story and all that stuff. But the idea of that like living is brave too, I really like that. That no one dies means no one dies. I really like that. That's a neat idea tied into events here. So they track down where this mysterious ranger who stole from them went off to, and they find her and all transform because they assume they're going to have to fight her. But the Morphin energy attracts the predator. Not that predator. The servants of the Praetor. Oh, Praetor. Sorry. Anyway, so there's some kind of mysterious evil force called the Praetor out here in this unknown region of space, and now the Rangers are going to have to deal with him because he wants whatever the source of their power is. The dagger that they got from Lord Drekken called... They call it the... what is it? They gave it a name. Solarix? That's such a spacey name. So they want this source of power and conflict and MacGuffin and blah, 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 blah. But because the Rangers didn't want to kill this mysterious Ranger who stole from them right away, she just has no idea what to think of that. Like, you don't want to murder me? And they're all like, no, we have a problem with the whole killing thing. I'm like, except for the guys you sent out a fucking airlock a couple pages ago. So I'm a little critical of that. But, I mean, I guess that was a different situation than having to fight someone or willing. Like, it's clearly a different thing, but apparently they don't have a super hard pass in the whole killing thing. Anyway. So here's our look at, I believe, the Praetor. I'm just gonna... Predator is such an easier name, but okay. There's a look at him, and he's the big bad of this arc, which is the Beyond the Grid arc. And the cover gave us a look at this mysterious purple ranger who does have a really cool design. Reminds me of like the way we used to do Donna Troy's costume, like the like the shape of her body underneath the costume kind of fade away, and it would just be a star field. So really cool like that. I don't know. I'm certainly interested in more. I'm here for Margaret Bennett, and Margaret Bennett's giving me the kind of stuff I really like, which is strong character dynamics. She's damn good at it. Art's good too. The cover's really gorgeous stuff. And then there's like some cool effects on things. Mitch Gerard's is kind of having a wide sweeping effect, because the same thing is what he does in Mr. Miracle. And it looks really good. It doesn't make as much sense here, but it's a cool effect to put over it. This kind of like doubling digital effects. It looks great. Who do I got in the live comments? Will you guys tell me, are you seeing my stream okay? Is like the audio lining up and everything? Because I'm worried about that. I am most assuredly worried about that. I'm gonna wait a minute till I hear back from someone, because I apparently got 2 comments, or 2 watchers right now. Started with 8, and then my stream started telling me there were problems. I'm like, oh no, too much buffering. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, man. I'll work on it for another time. Hopefully we can go back and the stream previous will be fine. Yeah, sorry. Let me see if I can do something on the computer before I go on to my last stuff here. Oh, this isn't gonna help. Oh, yeah. That's not going to be any use to me. Too much buffering. I apologize. Like, if I just go back a few minutes and the stream doesn't work fine? Huh. I don't really know what I can do to speed up the stream. I can close a tab or two, but I don't imagine that's having much of an effect. I'll just have to hope it streams alright in the end. Alright, well, we can go ahead and move on. Talk about Batman Beyond, number 25. Another foil cover here, really cool look to it. Love the way the bat signal's back there. Batman Beyond costume looks really good in foil. So this is a extra-sized issue. It is the beginning of The Final Joke, which makes me wonder if Dan Jurgens is leaving the book or if I've not been paying attention again and the book is ending. Either could certainly be possible. This issue kind of it brings to a forefront a problem I've had with this book that hasn't been like exceptionally big, but it's definitely been there and has kind of annoyed me, which is I don't think Dan Jurgens watched Batman Beyond. And like, I don't expect him to know every little detail, but like, there's absolutely no way Return of the Joker took place in the same continuity as this book now. There's just no way. Also, like, he just ignores like the entire plot of an episode at one point in this. And so I'm like, I'm pretty sure Dan Jurgens just watched like the first episode of Batman Beyond. Or maybe a handful after that. Get a flashback to Dick and Bruce being Batman and Robin, and that's the other thing with this book is this issue at least is almost entirely about Bruce Wayne. Which, I mean, Bruce is certainly an important part of Batman Beyond, but it was Terry's show, right? So it just feels weird that we're getting so many Bruce-centric stories here and not getting as much Terry-focused content. It's making Terry feel a little underutilized, but we are focusing on other characters building up the world in the comics, so, you know, Robin Beyond is still a cool thing. I do really love seeing stuff like this. It seems like every time we see the Robin Beyond costume, it's getting changed. I love this design in the wings over here. Oh, there we go. How it's got kind of like this cut shape in them. I think that's cool. It's more pronounced than it is in the Batman Beyond wings. So that's really cool. There's a series of grisly murders of Jokers. And so in typical Dan Jurgens fashion, we're building up to a reveal that's been there for quite a while. As just the... I'm assuming that's not actually on the wall. Anyway. We're building up to a reveal that's kind of been there for a while that the Joker's back. But like... They talk about how Bruce was able to start making Gotham a much better place after the Joker died, and that's okay. I do like these looks look backs at like how the Batman Beyond suit slowly began to develop in this version of continuity. So I think this is kind of a cool look. Red Hood gets acknowledged here, just weird to think about. Then here's another look at the prototypes to the Batman Beyond suit. So you got like a much more bulky kind of thing. That's cool. Anyway, this page is pretty neat. You get like a tribute to, you know, Ned and Terry took over, and Gotham's villains were put in check yet again, and now Gotham's become even better, and da 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 da. And they make a whole point here about how since the Joker's died, Gotham's been better as long as there's been Batman, and so Terry coming back has made Gotham be the best it's ever been, and now there's a problem because now the Joker's back, and he's blowing up this very important building that you kind of knew was going to blow up from the first time you see it on the page. And then we get this ominous scene with Barbara Gordon entering her office and someone in a purple suit sitting in her chair, spinning around and saying, "Why so shocked? Are you saying that Bruce never told you I'm alive?" So yeah, Joker, old man Joker. Very telling that he's got the like Hawaiian shirt going on for him here, and that he's pointing a revolver at Barbara Gordon. This, like, I do like this book. I don't want to give the impression that I don't like this book. This issue was a bit weak sauce. It's just he's doing Return of the Joker if he wrote Return of the Joker, but it was also not good. That's too harsh. It's not bad. It's nowhere near as good as Return of the Joker. So it's just like, why? And I guess like his determination is just you can have Batman Beyond be in the future of Bruce Wayne. It's conceivable. But you just can't have it with the events of Return of the Joker. Because you have to end Tim Drake as a character. And I guess, but like, I'd rather you just tell Batman Beyond stories and not worry about it settling it in continuity then. It's just what I got. I don't know. It's a cool cover. The issue is a bit weak sauce. Definitely the least impressive part. I've been waiting for Joker to come back for quite a while now in this book since he was set up really in the first arc when we were still dealing with the aftermath of the New 52 final Batman Beyond volume and all that stuff with Tim Drake as Batman Beyond. Alrighty. Think that's going to do it for the current single issues. Let's go ahead and do the throwback. Boop, boop. Alrighty. Here we are for our throwback review this week. We have All-Star Western number 1. Yeah, there's a lot of New 52 content on the DC streaming app, and I quite like a lot of it, so I'm going to be talking about it from time to time. New 52, that is. So yes, All-Star Western was a book I absolutely adored when I was reading it currently in the early days of New 52, the first 2 years or so. I think it's damn good and completely overlooked. So this sets the stage. And right off the bat, oh, I love this. Look at the skull. I didn't notice that. Look at the skull and the cloud over Gotham from the pollution. Ah, it's beautiful. So right from the start, this sets the premise of what this will be, which is Jonah Hex in the mind and often in his stories is shown to be a that better? Not much, but hey, is shown to be a relic of the West. Jonah Hex is the Western DC superhero. So the entire premise of this series is the West was short-lived, and Jonah Hex is anything but. And so we begin. Progress is like the inevitable change from childhood to old age, except that progress does not mean degradation. You can see a community deceptively launching as the time passes, or deceptively unchanging as the time passes. Yet when the years have gone and one looks back, there has been a very profound change indeed. It is not the same. It never will be the same. It can pass through further change, but it cannot go back. Men look back in sick longing for the things that were and that can never be again. They live the old days in memory, but try as they might, they cannot go back. With intelligent and persistent effort, a man may hold fast to his time and place in the world, but that is the most he can hope to do. Civilization and time will continue their march in spite of all that we may do. For men born to and raised in the western wilderness, the progress of cities great phobic nature of urban development must seem akin to a prison. By result of the strenuousness of his survival in the wilds, he possesses all the forces of the wonderful energies that have carried him far where other men would have halted. There are no ordinary nights in Gotham. They feel darker, and for strangers, even darker still. This night would open the door to one of the most interesting cases in my life. It began with another murder, but brought me into direct contact with one of the most interesting subjects of human psychology I'd ever encounter. And so this is about how Amadeus Arkham teamed up with Jonah Hex to be a crime-fighting duo. That is the premise that I absolutely love. That Jonah Hex is a man stuck in his time in the past, but he is right on the cusp of some of the greatest jumps in civilization. And Dr. Arkham represents the future. Jonah Hex clings to the past. And it's even exemplified by the fact that the fucker's still wearing a Confederate uniform. So Jonah Hex is a real son of a bitch, and his method of dealing with things is shoot first. Why bother asking questions? Damn it, I always have trouble with this thing. And so it's just, you get some really, really great stuff here as Arkham and Jonah Hex start working together begrudgingly. So this just becomes instantly one of my favorite books as the two are such a mismatched pair. Jonah Hex doing his detective work because he's been brought in to hunt down this latest serial killer, the Gotham Butcher. And he goes right to a bar, right to a floozy that he knows, and tries to get some information from her, but immediately gets in a bar fight and just is in the midst of some brutal-ass shit. And I love... I love Arkham's... That throughout this... And indeed, throughout most of the stuff, we get Arkham, pondering Jonah Hex's psychology. My assessment of Hex's psychology would prove correct. It became immediately clear this man with whom I was aligned displayed a complete lack of remorse, shame, or guilt, a deep-seated rage, which is split off and repressed, lurks at his core. I suspect he does not see most others around him as people, but only as targets and opportunities. Instead of friends, a man like Hex would have victims and accomplices who might end up as victims themselves. The end always justifies the means, and nothing will stand in his way. That is a fine trait in the profession and makes him well suited for the stark landscapes and brutality of the untamed West. However, when suffocated by the confines of a city such as Gotham, Hex is likely either to feel or increase his appetite for the kind of emotional resonance he feels when faced with danger. Men like Hex may show what appears to be warmth, joy, love, and compassion, but it is more feigned than experienced and serves an ulterior motive. I noted his indifference at a crime scene, a sight that would upset a normal person, left him cold and unmoved. Seeking out dangerous situations, alcohol, gambling, and promiscuity are likely his primary motivating factors, in addition to his orgastic approach to violence. It may possibly be his only means of finding enjoyment. I am fascinated and terrified by him. I love that. That is such... Oh, this is the book that made me a fan of Jonah Hex. This is the series that made me go, wow. Because initially, I only bought this for Arkham. I had no interest in Jonah Hex. Jonah Hex I knew because he was in one fucking episode of Justice League Unlimited, or 2 episodes of Justice League Unlimited. I had no interest in him beyond that. This series, though, it's so good. This series, I bought it for Arkham, and Amadeus Arkham is great in this series. Amadeus Arkham is super entertaining and becomes a really interesting character, and that makes him, and kind of carrying this into Arkham Asylum, the thing that he's most known for by Grant Morrison, it makes it really interesting. So I absolutely adore the way that this plays out. And so Arkham and Hex solve crimes together is the premise of this book. So Hex talks to this woman about what she knows about basically Gotham's version of Jack the Ripper, and he gives her some money, tells her to stay off her back for a few days. Then he goes to sleep, and he'll work on the case more tomorrow. He's woken up in the middle of the night by Arkham and the police commissioner of Gotham at the time, and they find that woman murdered with the message, Jonah Hex, leave Gotham. Arkham is invited to the this big social gathering because he and Hex have determined that the murderer is a man of affluence using a man of incredible physical strength who works with his hands to murder people. It's a tandem killing. And so that it's interesting that the killers that Hex and Amadeus Arkham are theorizing are a foil for Amadeus Arkham and Jonah Hex. So anyway, Arkham is invited to this party where they suspect the killer will be. He brings Hex with him. Hex's Confederate uniform greatly upsets the crowd. And I lost it again, and I'm starting to get annoyed. I don't think it likes me flipping through pages this quick. Hex's uniform greatly upsets the crowd, and they realize their one clue about the Gotham Butcher is that he has a skull ring, and they begin to notice everyone at the party is a rich Gothamite of incredible influence, and they all have skull rings. So it's a really, really cool premise. I adored this book when it was coming out. Absolutely adored this book. One of my favorite series from the New 52. A series that was completely slept on. And really, from issue 1, it only gets better. I shit you not, it only gets better from issue 1. There's no bad issue. They had to deal with the fucking Night of the Owls bullshit crossover, and even that issue is good. So yeah, great series. Highly recommend All-Star Western from 2011. Really fun stuff. So I'll probably be doing some more throwbacks on that, or maybe like for a trade talk, just do the entire series. Because I plan to reread that. And what's really nice about this app, and I swear they're not paying me to sell the DC Universe app, but hey, DC, if you want to pay me to sell the DC Universe app, I am there. What I really like about this, I have all these issues of All-Star Western. They're in those comic boxes right there somewhere, but I don't have to go digging through them. I can just fucking pull this shit up. It's great. So yeah, I'm really digging this stuff. Cool stuff. All right. Boop, boop. Okay. Health seems to be better. That's good. Alrighty. Let's go ahead and talk some of the preview stuff. Huge preview out from Marvel this week. And I flipped through it, and a couple things did catch my eye. The first one was Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man #1 with Tom Taylor doing the writing. I'd heard a lot of good things about Tom Taylor, and just the premise of this really excited me, so I'll have to add this to my poll. Let's see here. Spider-Man is the worst neighbor ever. There are always crazy villains and property damage and drama, and he catches the villains, and he tries to fix the damage, and he helps carry your groceries, and actually that property damage keeps the rents down. You know what? Spider-Man is the best neighbor ever, and this book will give you a closer look at Spider-Man's and Peter Parker's neighborhood than any book ever. Also, it wouldn't be a Spider-Man adventure without a threat that could destroy not only Spider-Man, but all his neighbors. Superstar writer Tom Taylor, X-Men Red, All New Wolverine, Injustice, and rising art star Juan Cabal, I think I did that right, All New Wolverine, X-23, give you the most local Spider-Man ever, 32 pages each, rated T, $3.99 each. Yep, I'm there. I am so there for that. That is right up my alley for what I want in Spider-Man. The guy who carries your groceries with you and just hangs out. Yeah. That's the kind of thing I need. So that one excites me. A couple of these other books in here sounded kind of interesting, but I'm just not enough of a Marvel guy to really justify it. What did I see? All new ongoing series, Marvel Comics Presents. Tempted. Very tempted. I'll definitely pick up at least the first issue. I don't know if I'll pick that up monthly. But that is the kind of thing that I'm really excited by. It's just standalone stories with different characters. So that does intrigue me. And then, oddly enough, there was a Star Wars book that I was kind of interested in that's not advertised, I think, in the Star Wars special. Star Wars, not special, what's the word I want here? Star Wars preview, there we go. I just got to get to it. Killmonger is also advertised here. I plan to pick up at least the first issue of that. Might wait for the series to be done, so it's just a mini, though. Don't you love flipping through previews? So if you got this too, and there's something like you really want me to talk about, please let me know in the comments. I'll definitely pick up at least one issue of it, provided I remember. Here we go, Star Wars stuff. They're doing a Jango Fett book. I'm like, oh, hey, maybe that'd be fun. I'll pick up an issue of Jango Fett. Why not? I like him. I'm the only one in the world, but I like him. Otherwise, not a lot in here really did it for me. You get some statues released, and yeah. So, just wanted to share some of that, some of the thoughts. Really like the premise for Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. Then we got the Star Wars reads here. These are just a couple previews because they're doing this new Age of Republic, Age of Rebellion, Age of Resistance, the ages of the R's. Where we're just advertising books that are coming out in these different banner ages. So we're going to have a Darth Maul series. Again, this is directly following up the original mini-series, which was never intended to be a mini-series. It was always meant to be an ongoing, and then they just decided last minute it's a mini-series and basically canceled it after the first arc. This is directly picking up from where that first arc left off, and so I guess they just, yeah. Anyway. Then there's a Qui-Gon Jinn series. I ain't reading that. Just not reading it. Some Imperial Cadet, Han Solo Imperial Cadet. More Han Solo origin stuff because that's what people are demanding. And then just previews of what's coming up in Gillen's run. I still haven't read the first volume of Gillen's run on the main Star Wars book. So I like that the Star Wars book that I'm most excited for is the one not advertised in the Star Wars preview. That's fun. Anyway, alrighty. let's go ahead. Should I do trade talk? I think I'm going to bow out on trade talk in the live show because my computer connection is less than ideal right now, and I don't want to have a really low quality trade talk episode. So I'll definitely be doing a trade talk. It's going to be on Batman and the Justice League Volume 1, this manga by Shiori Teshragi. I'm just gonna go with Shiori. I'm pretty sure Shiori is right. Shiori. So I'll be talking about this in Trade Talk. That will be posted Monday for sure. I'll probably be recording it sometime when I got a few minutes tomorrow night. So preview for upcoming attractions. Just in case you're wondering, this is a Justice League manga, a Batman Justice League manga. And I don't know, thought that was interesting. I like this East meets West kind of stuff. Alrighty, that will do it for me, everyone. Thank you very much for watching. Until next time, I'll see ya, and I'll be reviewing comics. Bye.